It's time to pull up a chair and talk some Dynasty football. I'm your host, Joseph Harlow, and this is the Ride or Dynasty podcast. My Hall of Fame worthy co-hosts, Jameson Hutchison and JJ Wenner, are on assignment at the Fantasy Football Expo at the home of the NFL Hall of Fame. So I am here with an old friend of mine, my former co-host of the IDP Plus Waiver Wire show back in 2023, Fantasy Pros most accurate sleeper picker of 2024, a fantasy and overall IDP aficionado. Again, my good friend, Justin Frye. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey, Joe, thanks for having me. Good to be here.
How have you been?
Exhausted. Just joined you not too long ago in that 2 kilo lifestyle, so it's been a ride.
It's been fun. Yeah, it's great to have you on. Excited to talk some IDP breakouts. Last week, we discussed some breakouts on the offensive side of the ball, but with Jameson and JJ out, decided to take some time on the defensive side. So we're going to focus on tomorrow, providing you with the players who are currently priced at their lowest right now. We're talking players that'll jump into hyperspace, land parsecs tiers above next season. Justin and I are each going to bring 5 names to the table here, so 10 total IDP risers. Let's ride. Before we get into it, don't forget to listen to all of our podcasts and watch all of our shows here at Fantasy in Frames. Head over to fantasyinframes.com for all the latest articles and rankings covering a wide range of topics in the world of fantasy football and even outside of football. I know the hockey show has started up recently, and I believe they're going to be getting into some other sports potentially in the near future. Stay tuned for the Fantasy in Frames draft show, which will be starting a little bit after this pre-recorded show airs. That is with Stacy and Erica, who will have something fun cooked up. And again, another reminder, last week we talked about the offensive side of the ball. You can check that show out on YouTube or in our Ride or Dynasty page on Spotify. Shouldn't be too far down there. All right, let's get into it. We're going to start on the defensive line, and I'm going to tackle a defensive tackle first. Even in your leagues with defensive linemen, Osa Odighizuwa is going outside of the top 80 defensive linemen right now, which I think is a little silly. He was someone who I was super high on last year. I brought him up a lot in waiver shows or start-sit episodes or articles. The overall numbers didn't look spectacular with 50 tackles and 5 sacks, but still solid for an interior defensive tackle who you were getting for super cheap. But looking further into the metrics, he was third amongst all defensive tackles and pressures with 60. And in the more rate-based stats, he was top 8 to 12 in pretty much every metric, including 11th in total pass rush grade, only behind guys like Chris Jones, Milton Williams for Justin's team, now with Justin's team, Cam Hayward, Jeffrey Simmons, then the greats like Jalen Carter, Dexy Lawrence, and Ed Oliver. Top 4 overall in pass rush win rate, and with all the variables there. The only guys ahead of him there were the aforementioned Milton Williams and Chris Jones, then were the only ones ahead of him in both. So we're talking some really elite rush metrics. Do you have any thoughts on Odighizuwa, Justin?
No, I like the player. Everything just hasn't kind of hit. But I think with Zaraku there this year, drawing some more attention on the opposite side, Parsons bouncing around a little bit. I mean, he actually plays for them. Odighizuwa should be a riser for sure. He got that bag off season too. He
did. 4 years, 80 million. So really hoping that he lives up to that. I don't know. I just think right now he's going at defensive lineman 86, and even for D tackles, and this is going off Fantasy Pros IDP Dynasty rankings, he's the 23rd defensive tackle. Like, there's a lot of older guys on that list. Some other guys who, like Mason Graham, I loved as a prospect, hasn't done anything in the NFL yet. It's one of those where that's the back end DT2. I feel like you're getting a steal there.
I'm sure like Cam Hayward, who's probably on the tail end of career, is probably ahead of him, who's gonna. Yep. I wouldn't bet on him to fall a lot. Just in general, would rather take the assembler unless I'm firmly in a champion window.
I agree.
So.
And he's still young at just, I think he'll turn 27 at some point this year. So Odighizuwa is a good bet.
Tackles take a while.
Yeah. I guess speaking of, you have someone who's even lower down the list than I do. Who was your first defensive lineman?
The only D lineman I actually had, surprisingly, like would place my bets front to back. So I would rather D lineman, but Jalyx Hunt, passer on the Eagles. So I know you and I were both pretty high on him last year.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing he would take a little bit, and then Brandon Graham retires. Josh Sweat leaves, and now he's the talk of Eagles camp. Vic Fangio's talking him up. Johnson, Jordan Mailata, all talking about how good Hunt can be. And like I said, Sweat's in Arizona, and Hunt should be jumping from his 40% snap rate last year to closer to 75, where Sweat was, and where Nolan Smith was last year. He's got to show some more growth because it's not fully a numbers thing. It's more also about his playing time. But he was, I believe, fifth among rookies with a 10% pass rush win rate. And rookies played at least 100 snaps, pass rush snaps. He only had 1.5 sacks in the regular season, but he posted another 1.5 just in the playoffs. And Jordan Mailata even threw a nice little Micah Parsons comp talking about him about a week ago. So someone who has to block Parsons, that's a pretty lofty comp.
I'm sure there's some hyperbole on your guy there, but still, even to draw that name means that he's doing something right and impressing those guys.
That's a lot of credit to put on a kid, even if you're making a bit of a jump guy.
Yeah.
That's putting some expectations on him.
Yeah.
I mean, Nolan Smith started pretty slow.
He did
2 years ago as a rookie, and then kind of came on slowly. So I'm kind of expecting a similar progression Hunt.
Gotcha. So do you have Hunt over Smith as of now, or just think he's on track to potentially get there?
I think on track to potentially get there. I think how we viewed last off season pretty fair comparison to how Hunt viewed right now, and where Smith is right now is a good indicator where Hunt could land next off season.
Nolan Smith is 14th on their list right now, which is crazy because I would assume around this time last year he would have been around 180s.
Probably, and I mean 14. I mean that's pretty sporty up there.
It is. It's 2 spots higher than my next name, Chop Robinson. That's how you do a transition, I guess. This is someone who, again, Justin and I have been super high on for a while. Helps that he's an alum of the team of the pod, Penn State. But this is a high metric basis. Actually, similar to what Jalen Phillips was. If you follow Justin and I's work back with IDP Plus a couple years ago, those metrics before Phillips was getting injured. Sorry, I'm getting attacked by a kitten right now. They like to chew on my feet. So both Phillips and now Robinson had metrics similar to Myles Garrett, Will Anderson, some of those higher end names before really breaking out and having huge metric or statistical success. Chop last year was top 8 in Pro Football Focus's PRP, which is their pass rush productivity and their pass rush win rate statistics. The only guys ahead of him in both of those metrics were Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons, Aiden Hutchinson, and Trey Hendrickson. Couple of not scrubs, right? So if he can continue doing that in his biggest, which I do think he can, he was a great pass rusher metric wise at Penn State. The run game and just overall snap share are the main concerns. He only played 53.2% of snaps last year. Absolutely need to see that come up, like we talked about with Jalyx Hunt just a minute ago. The run game numbers were pretty poor. I think he had like a 55 grade for PFF last year, which I do think what sets him apart there is he does show effort in the run game. A lot of these guys who are your pass rush only, your DPRs, you won't see that. I think that's kind of what caused Bryce Huff to fall a little bit last year. And now before going over to San Francisco back with Saleh, is that just wasn't anything to offer there. Robinson at least put some effort into that, so hopefully he can improve to at least, even if it's just decent or slightly below average play, then we'll see him hopefully jump to that 75, 80% snap share. And if he can do that based off these rush metrics, what is the ceiling for him, do you think?
Can improve a bit. I mean, 16's already up there.
Yeah.
It's hard to get him into the top easily right now. I mean, he can ascend there over him, but you got to keep Vertex ahead of him, and Hutchinson ahead of him, and Will Anderson probably.
Agreed.
Those three plus like Abdul Carter is should stay. So probably 5 is about the ceiling. But he definitely can make a leap. But it's all going to come down to, like you said, that can he stop the run at a high enough level? And then what do the Dolphins think of him? Because last year Jalen Phillips was out, Bradley Chubb was out, if I recall. So
they've both been out just so much.
Managing the rotation of them, because I assume they're going to try to keep those healthy if they can. So it'll be interesting to see how they manage that.
Yeah,
and can build on his snap count. Because another guy, he's not even on my list, but another guy I kind of view similarly, rookie coming this year. I know you feel similarly about him. Probably is James Pierce. He's a guy who probably is a little lower in the D-line rankings, but I expect. My question is, will Chop get enough play time on pass or run plays to hold off Pierce from jumping over him? Because they both should be able to kill him rush.
Yeah, James Pierce Jr. is down at 65 right now, which
that
is
a surprise. Yeah.
Also, looking at their list right now, Jared Verse where is he down at? He's down at 57. So these are not fully updated clearly, but
yeah.
I was looking through the list, like there's a big name here missing, but I agree. Like there's those 5 guys and probably Verse. I would say Chop can't really get ahead of, just unless Verse really regresses as a pass rusher. But we see Trey Hendrickson has 0 threat against the run, but he's still been a deep defensive player of the year candidate for the past few years. And then we're talking like Leatu Latu, Nick Bonito are ahead of Chop. I'm not so sure about either of those guys. I know Bonito had a great year, but his metrics were pretty poor, honestly, at least for someone with a dozen sacks. And Danielle Hunter, TJ Watt, and Hendrickson are all in their 30s now, or 29, 30. So how much longer are they really going to be elite players? I think Chop, who is at the top of tier 4 right now, could really jump into that 8 range where Brian Burns currently is. So I think there's some potential there for him to rise a little bit. Maybe not many spots, but tiers.
That's the comp I would put for both Pierce and Chop, is you want to kind of grow like Burns did.
Burns was my pre-draft comp for Chop. I think makes sense. Probably there.
Was for Pierce as well. Right? Sorry.
No, you're good. Who was my comp for
Pierce in there? Just
yeah, it was.
I do them so similarly.
Yeah. Let's see who that was real quick. I have that handy. It was. I put Thibodeau as my comp, another giant, but Thibodeau had more power than Pierce does. But honestly, I mostly changed that because of some of the off-field stuff, and that I didn't want to do a Brian Burns comp 3 years in a row. And I comped Abdul Carter to Burns, so I couldn't do 2 in one class.
Yeah,
okay. But it's the same flavor for sure. All right, so that wraps it up for for edge rushers and defensive linemen. Let's move over to the linebackers. Do you want to start us off here, Justin?
Sure. Talk about I think this year's the highest rated on CPROS. Jack Sanborn, who, if you paid attention this offseason, with the Cowboys, and back with his old head coach, who's now defensive coordinator. He also seems poised to wear the green dot as the signal caller for the defense. Every chance he's gotten a chance to to play a significant amount of snaps, he proves his relevant ADP. And now he's set to hold down the role probably for since DeMarvin being over. I doubt can come back from that injury until at least Thanksgiving. So, and even if it was, I'd rather take Murray off the field than Sanborn.
Absolutely.
So Sam has played 85% of snaps in just 7 games so far in his 3-year career, and his fewest tackles recorded in any of 7 games was 7 tackles, and he averaged 9.7 tackles per game. So if he's given the role where he's playing 100% of snaps, wearing the green dot, I mean, he ought to fly by 100 tackles again. Well, not again, for the first time in his career, and probably land a decent contract next offseason, be it the Cowboys or someone else.
Makes sense to me.
I know you are a Sanborn guy too, someone you think will rise.
Yeah, I had Sanborn. I'm doing a little insight. I am writing the defensive IDP previews for the NFC. That was hard to say. And Sanborn was one of the top players that I wrote about for this one. Was the best value for linebackers, and I have him just outside of my top 3. Like, I think he's my LB 26 for this season, just with those concerns for, will they just be silly and put Kenneth Murray out there? It's the Cowboys, who really knows? But
if with them, it's Leofau and Sam. That should be.
And I know they really love Leofau, so our friend Ryland's guy. But if I knew that Sanborn would be having that green dot role for sure, and I think that's come out more steadily than when I initially started the rankings, I'd probably have him closer to linebacker 18, 16 for this year. And if he can do that this year, why not? He'll get a decent contract somewhere next year. So I think LB 53 dynasty-wise is low.
You would think. Like, I don't know how he could wear green dot and not get a good role somewhere. Right. Honestly, wouldn't shock me if my Patreon got him to be the second backer next offseason, something like that. Like he's a younger guy, so get some.
He makes a lot of sense in Eberflus's defense as well, which has had a lot of production from IDP guys. And how much better is like a TJ Edwards and Jack Sanborn, really? Are we sure he's a lot better?
And realistically, all you need with a linebacker is playing time and a good scheme. And Sanborn has shown that in that defense, that is what's when he plays. And if he's given the green dot, that's TJ Edwards. That's I mean that's the direct comp that you could make for what he could be this year. And he's
TJ Edwards has been
typically a top 10 overall linebacker.
Yeah, he's been awesome for fantasy, even if he's been kind of on the field.
Honestly, that's what Sanborn is. Neither of them are going to be great coverage guys. That's why they signed Edmonds in Chicago. That's why I wouldn't play Kenneth Murray next to him in Dallas. I play Leofau and ideally O'Shawn long term. Those who should be the top linebackers.
Edwards finished as linebacker 8 in 23 and 7 last year. So I don't know if Sanborn can necessarily get that high. Dallas's defense is better than Chicago's has been, at least structurally, to take away linebacker IDP points. So, but that's the ceiling for sure. He's getting super undervalued.
Yeah, I mean I just made a trade in one of our favorite Dynasty leagues. I think I sent Nick Martin for him.
It was a very savvy move, I thought.
I was just looking for some for this year.
Makes sense. We're going to go to my first linebacker, which is someone who, like Chop, I've been talking about nonstop for 2 years. That is the Packers' Edgerrin Cooper. I just love this dude, honest. I think he's awesome. He's a linebacker 15 right now, which honestly, dynasty-wise, he's in my top 3 linebackers. I can't put him at number 1 yet, just that's a little too much, even though I do think he has that potential for sure. But again, like Chop, there's a lot of metric spaces that we're going off of here. He did not start. He started, I think it was the last 8 games of last season. Something like that. In the last 9 games, he played he only played over 71% of snaps twice, but he still averaged 7 tackles over that 9-game sample. So now that it does seem like he's going to be the green dot or is going to at least be the top linebacker on the team, they don't have any confidence in Quay Walker. I honestly wouldn't be shocked if Walker was a cut this offseason as camp gets to an end. Isaiah McDuffie has been just as good as Quay Walker has been, but isn't an asshole, to be frank. So it seems like they trust him a lot more than they do Walker. And if you're going to get similar play, why not take the headache off the field? Which unfortunately Walker has been with multiple ejections and just silly stuff over the past couple of years. But back to Cooper, he's an absolute freak. He's been, I think last year he finished as the number 2 linebacker rushing the passer, which was his big profile. Ernest Jones was my comparison for him, who started his career as basically a blitzing linebacker, kind of like what Caden Ellis has been for the Saints and Falcons the past few years. But Cooper shockingly really turned it on this year as a rookie with in coverage, which will keep him on the field. He was a top 14 linebacker in coverage for PFF, just not something I really saw in his wheelhouse, even as someone who I was probably the highest person on him of everyone I saw as a rookie. And I did not see a top 20 linebacker in coverage coming as a rookie. So if that can really stand up, plus he was top 25 against the run, I think you have someone who's going to be on the field 95+% of snaps, who has the upside to get 150 tackles and 6 sacks, which is definitely shooting for the stars. But if anyone can do it, I think Cooper's one of those guys. And he's at linebacker 15 right now. But like I said, I think he could easily be top 3 by the end of the year. What are your thoughts?
Make sense. I just worried that they're going to run too much because of how bad his rush in general is. Like, that's the only thing that holds me on him a little bit. It is to be their best pass rusher, which is terrifying for a off-ball linebacker. What the Falcons had to do last year, Caden Ellis. You already brought him up, so I think last year cadence is kind of what you're looking for from Cooper, maybe with a little more thing, but that is kind of what I would expect from him. I think he can rise. I just am not sure where he winds up on. I do think top reasonable. It's mostly just the defense around him and what they were doing with him that more than anything could hold him back.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair.
Because I don't want to see him. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I'd feel way better if Rashawn Gary was living up to the hype that he's been having over the past couple of years, or it was at least more consistent, or if like Lucas Van Ness, Kingsley Enagbare, Brenton Cox even, who actually was like a top 5 edge rusher based off rush metrics, which always was like, whoa, Brenton Cox, good for you, dude. But on like 5 snaps a game, but still. Like one of those guys turns into something. Or who was the rookie? Baron Sorrell?
Yeah.
One of those guys can turn into a solid edge 2, like NFL at secondary pass rusher, and Gary kind of gets more consistent. I'd feel way better, but I think, Cooper is their best pass rusher right now.
They're always the team that made the most sense for me if Dallas were to ever actually trade Parsons. Mm-hmm. I don't know that Gunter would ever actually do it.
Yeah,
I butchered his name, but that's a lot of capital to get. But now that it's not drafting in Green anymore, they're the team that I would put. And my concern with Cooper, the biggest concern I would have, is that they use him Luvu.
Yeah, it'd be fun for NFL terms, but it would be a bummer for IDP.
Yeah, because you do not want to play linebacker who's basically a glorified D line there.
No. And Ernest Jones with Bobby Wagner, 22, and then once he left in 23, Jones was still solid for IDP, but it wasn't nearly as good as we were hoping for. Still had over 100 tackles, but the sacks kind of, just how much he was used as a rusher really killed that value. So yeah, that's a really good point.
That is, it is a talent thing with Cooper. It is a utilization, and how they use him will dictate how good he can, and whether or not he can ascend even more.
Yep. Agreed. I guess I'm just on the optimism side there. And a lot of that is definitely take lock and just that I had a true first round grade on the guy and he was one of my guys. So I'll admit there's some of that in there for sure. But
I mean, same D coordinator, same defense. So in theory, he should be exactly the way he was down the stretch, which would put him as a top linebacker. It's just a slight concern of mine.
Yeah, I get it. Quay Walker is linebacker 6 on this list, which is really surprising to me.
Yeah, former first round linebackers tend to take lock highly for quite a while. Edmonds was up there for a while in like Fantasy Pros ranking. Plus, I think they roll over prior year rankings. So if you haven't updated your rankings, there probably are some 2024 Dynasty rankings still in there, which is why this is versus low, because he was really included on a person's list. The shop wasn't.
Yeah, true. Oh, what a time! But looking through all this stuff, it's like there aren't as many great linebackers as there were even a couple of years ago. I feel like for IDP, seems like it's tough, slim pickings. But if you get one of those elite guys, it can really change your league.
For sure. You know who my guys are for that team we've been talking about. We won't bring them up. Honestly, I'm curious though. So my linebackers, say we were talking about earlier, Diane Henley and Campbell. Campbell's good highly, but I would highly ranked in Fantasy Pros. But where is Henley?
Where is Henley on this list? Let's see. He's
behind Cooper.
He is at 26 right now. And I know for their redraft rankings, he's pretty low too.
And Junior Colson would be a shell of mine. I know you were high on him too. I mean, he was one of the lowest chargers in the Hall of Fame game and actually played a bunch. I'm honestly not he starts, but been in trouble with Larsman. And Troy, who knows if they over Colson or not. But that linebacker 2 spot in LA is interesting. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Off on a little tangent there.
No, I love the insight. Yeah, I'd be more worried about Colson if Perryman didn't just get cut since after the arrest. But
they cut him. I missed that.
I saw they cut him.
It wouldn't shock me. But...
No, but yeah, Henley for Fantasy Pros redraft rankings is at linebacker 21, which. I have him at 3.
Yeah, he would be top 5-ish for me, somewhere in there. Up there, he's up there. I like that. Sure. He once retweeted one of my takes about that Diane Henley.
Oh yeah, that's right. Forgot about that. I know you've been on Henley for a bit. I loved him as a prospect too, but let's get back to you're good. It's good insight. Love to have it.
Speaking of Kate Ellis, his new teammate, Divine Deablo, and another. Yeah. Well, I guess I ruined the game I was going to play, but we'll talk some parallels between Deablo and another player who last year would have been great for this show if we had done it in advance of the season. But no one would have predicted this guy. So both college DBs drafted in the Browns NFL draft and transitioned from safe to linebacker. A while, the guy talking about broke out his 4th year, still on his rookie deal. Thankful for him. And Deablo still has on it now in his 5th year this year. Last year he was coached by new Falcons D coordinator Jeff Ulbrich. I know you know who it is. That would be Jamie Sherwood, who really is extremely high ranked in your redraft ranking. I don't know about Fantasy Pro, but the dude put up 150 kills in this defense last year. And Deablo is looking like he might be set to wear the dot.
Because everything I saw looks like he's going to be the green dot.
Because Caden Ellis, because of his pass rush prowess, like we were talking about just now, where he's bouncing around, playing edge, playing. They're moving him around a la, probably a better comp would be a la Parsons, although he's definitely not that. But basically trying to keep defenses against his guesses of guessing about what he's doing. So with that, shifted 154 tackles, and if Deablo some weight, bulking up, trying to stay healthy, because that's been an issue for him. If he can do that, my guess is 120 is a floor, and you're looking at probably 130 to 140 at least for tackles.
Yeah, even in 23 with Vegas as their I think he was their second linebacker then. Or
Spillane was playing ahead of him.
Spillane was there, and I couldn't remember when.
I think it was 2 years.
It was 2 years with the Raiders.
Yeah.
He still had 105 tackles in 23, and Spillane is way more of a traditional linebacker than Ellis is. So I think, Deablo's another guy just wrote up, and he's 81 on Fantasy Pros' Dynasty rankings. And where was he for redraft? Oh, too many tabs always. He was he's at 58. So the linebacker 6, which
I think he got
or 5. Sorry,
he got a 2-year deal too, so he's not going anywhere.
Was it a 2-year deal?
He got a 2-year deal around 7-ish million per year from Atlanta. So it wouldn't shock me. They've got him for a couple of years and they extend him beyond that. And I mean, he's tossed Anderson to the side. He's been hurt again in camp, I think, from what I've seen. So there's nothing in the way of those being their linebackers for the next at least 2 years, and it wouldn't shock me if longer than that. If this defense grows under Morris, we expect it to.
It was a 2-year, $14 million deal, 7.6 guaranteed.
Okay, so they can cut to a year if they want to, but they can keep him here for $7 million if they choose.
And it seems like Jalen Walker is going to be solely an edge rusher at this point, so that's not something I'd be worried about. Everything I've seen, I know Athletic Football Show, they just had their discussion with the Falcons writer, and they said that Pierce too, I guess, but Pierce and Walker are only edge rushers right now. That's where they're focusing them on.
Yeah, so I think next year you might see them starting games with Caden Ellis and Walker, or maybe this year where you could put them on opposite sides. Which side are we going to rush an extra guy on? But it's going to take them a bit to get
still there. Even when they do get to that point, you still need someone in the middle of the defense, and I think Deablo is probably the best bet there.
I think Deablo's going to wear the dot is because he's going to sit in the middle of the field and then let them play those games with Walker as the season goes along.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
It'll be fun defense to watch them go because they're young. And I almost put another a DB from in this. And honestly, you could have put both of their rookie DBs, Watts and Bowman, because I think they both start.
It sounds like Bowman. Yeah, it sounds like Bowman might start in the slot and then Watts at safety with Bates. Then you could really put a lot of Falcons in there. They had 2 defensive tackles last year who missed some time with Brandon Dorless and the Washington one, Rukaroro, and then who was the Washington guy?
Oh, yeah. I can't. Oh, the defensive end.
It's like the 3-4 end sort of type.
Yeah, I'm blanking on his name too.
Oh, who was it? That's gonna piss me off. Anyway, we'll get back to that one once we remember his name. But those guys
is their breakout. If you wanted an OD tackle that's deep, he's been killing camp. I've been paying a lot of attention to the Falcons. He's just
Zach Harrison's another name too, who's been pretty good for them the past couple of years. It's kind of a primary run stopping edge, but like they have a lot of 3 talent, which makes sense. I think that's a good spot.
I think they're playing her in this year's 3 tech now.
Then Ebiketti's kind of the secondary rusher behind the rookies. So fun defense if it all can come together. We're going to get to DBs after we pay some bills. Make sure you download and subscribe to the Fast Draft app today using the promo code FRAMES, which will earn you a first-time deposit match of up to $50 in credits. From their Origins game, where you only draft rookies, their Flex 4 game, where you pick your favorite players for the upcoming season, and their D-Up game, which is just like Flex 4, but with IDP players only. This 20-second timer, PPR formatted, unless you're an IDP, 6-round best ball draft game is perfect for those on the go, but itching to get their fantasy football draft fix satisfied. Again, that's promo code FRAMES with a capital F, which will earn you a first-time deposit match of up to $50 in credits. That is the Fast Draft app. Start drafting faster. Alrighty, We both somehow, even though I know we prioritized edge rushers in our Dynasty IDP leagues, ended up with 2 defensive backs each here out of the 10 names. So easy way to break it up. But who is your first name?
So I'm going to talk about a guy you brought up Rye earlier, Ryland. Another guy he loved coming out. You and I both also thought could be good. Didn't love the landing spot, at least for year one. But Malik Mustapha, safety, San Francisco. So caveat this: he tore up his knee at the end of 2024, but
Quietest injury ever.
Yes. Now Hufafanga's gone. He's in Denver, if you missed it. J.A. Brown should, in my opinion, be the deep guy, and Mustafa should be the one coming downhill. But Brown actually had been, I didn't realize this, he had been the box guy with Hufanga, which just makes sense. But honestly, those are interchangeable. That you can probably be a little bit more creative with them. He did come in at the end of the year when Brown was hurt and see at least $2 snap, or he played better than 50% of his snaps in the box in the last 3 games, 2 of which were without Brown. But even that's probably a little confusing. So 2 games where he played greater than 20% of his 20 snap in the box in the game, which was the game Brown came back for. He played greater than 50% of his snaps in the box. And even like I said, when he came back, he was still box more than Brown was. So even in a deep, he was posting 5, 6, 7 tackle game regularly. So from a deep, that's kind of all you're really hoping for. Or someone's going to take over that block role that have had for years. So if it were me, I'd Brown deep, put Mustafa coming downhill more. And I would expect Mustapha could have some more decent production, potentially even Derwin James light type of role, because Staley's the defensive coordinator out there now.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I know actually Jair Brown and Malik Mustapha were my safety 2 in both 2024 and 2023 respectively. So was a little bummed IDP wise that they landed at the same spot, but Mustafa is someone that I know we liked a lot. My comp for him was a minor Buda Baker.
Okay.
He has, not a little, because Buda's already little, but he's not that talent, but I think similar role. And then I don't remember who my comp for Brown was. Who was it?
I don't have your list in front of you, but while you're looking that up, I bet you talked about your DB1 from 2024 next.
Spoilers, Justin. Spoilers.
That's just my guess. I don't have your list.
Yeah, no, you are correct there. We'll get there. I did not put a comp for Jair Brown. Well, that's silly. Anyway, less important now, but both of them I think both are good names to bring up for this, but Mustafa, I would agree, is the priority there, as he just looks more like a box safety. I know Ryland, who we've mentioned a few times here, shared a bunch of clips with us back and forth of just Mustafa taking people's heads off. And it's like, okay, this is a box safety. I don't have the metrics in front of me, but I know he was really good against the run. That was his calling card in college. I think in this defense, I think he makes a lot of sense when he does come back healthy. He's going to be the box guy. I think he's someone who, give it weeks 4, 5, 6, add him back to your redraft rosters, and then everyone's going to forget about him. Then he's going to come back and just, I think, be a borderline defensive back 1, 2 range for the back half of the year.
He's been trying to get in a few weeks, also because hurt right now. So he's like a fun. I can throw him on IR and be an extra player. So it's been one that I've been trying to hire in Dynasty because he shouldn't be 50-50.
No, I think honestly all 4 of the names we have here are way too low, and I'd say by 10, potentially even 20 spots, all of them are low. But anything else on Mustafa? I think that's yeah. I love the player. So as Justin said, I'm going to go with my safety 1 from 2024, Jaden Hicks. The Kansas City Chiefs safety, replacing one of my favorite players of all time, which has been a gag on the show that Justin Reed is one of my 5 favorite players to watch. Random, but love the dude. Not often you have a safety who can kick, but getting off track there. Jaden Hicks is another prototypical box safety guy who's going to absolutely knock your face off when gets momentum when he's going for you. Not a huge amount of metrics to have, just since he was the third, fourth safety last year behind Justin Reed, one of the league's Iron Men. But again, I think he's going to jump into that role. I have him for this year as my defensive back. It's in the mid-teens, 15. Wow, I was aggressive with that one. But I expect him to be a 70% box player. Justin Reed was in the box closer to 60, 65% of the time. Hicks isn't the coverage man that Reed was. Again, he's in his second year, so expecting that wouldn't be super fair. But I think he's going to be in there a lot. Brian Cook. I think it's Brian. Brian Cook is a good, really good deep safety, good coverage guy. So I don't think that's really going to factor. That makes a pretty clear delineation. Do you know if Trent McDuffie
too? If they move him back safe, Connor too. If they move him to safety, is a better deep.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So don't. And that role is completely his. The box role is completely Hicks, and that's just someone who I really think. I'm really high on him. 37. I get why he's at DB 37, just with not having really a role last year. He did make a couple really big plays in moments he did have on the field. So I'm going off that and wheels up on my guy Jaden Hicks.
You think you couldn't play him, and that last year was exactly why you talked about he limited as a deep guy, but that's why he fell to the fourth round draft. I think early fourth, 2024. But it's because everyone was like, well, we can't play this guy deep, so he's a limited safety for the most part early on, at least until we can get him and work with him. So he fell a little bit in the draft. Yeah. You and I both had him as DB1 pre-draft. Flipped it to Newbin right after the draft, but those two were pretty close before that.
Yeah. I think Newbin definitely landed in a better spot for at least for immediate fantasy production, which he did. Newbin was good, so
them signing Devon Holland made it even better because Holland's deep now and Newbin is locked in to that box roll, random. But he's probably underrated for where he should be in Dynasty, which for me would be a top 5 DB.
You have Newbin as a top 5 DB?
Yes.
Nice. He is at 10 right now, at the top of tier 3.
That's more aggressive than I thought they would be. Maybe just because he's a year 2 guy who had a good year last year. But it should just get even better now. They have a really, really good over the top safety behind him. They should have let McKinney walk.
And with bad linebacker play, aside from Okereke getting older and kind of slowing down, and then
do they play Musa finally, or do they let that? Sorry.
I think McFadden will start the year, and then they'll transition to Musa. So I think will happen pretty quick. But yeah, that's random Giants talk. But guess let's take our next name to the other half of the Manning rivalry with your next name.
Yeah, I'll hop over to your team, the Colts. That's all good. So I know we talked about DBs both way. And if you play on sleeper, you can play Jaylon Carlies say DB. However, he has the inside to being the linebacker 2 in Indianapolis. I know he's banged up the last days, it sounds like, but he's a former safety convert college, similar to Sherwood and but unlike them, he's getting a quality opportunity in you. I guess Deablo did too, but Carlies should get the second linebacker role, which under new D coordinator Lou Anarum, Jermaine Pratt played 95 snaps in 24, and Logan Wilson played 100% prior to his injury. So, I mean, even if I'm blanking on your top guy,
Zaire Franklin.
I was going to say Franklin. Okay. Franklin is 100% guy, which I actually don't think he's good for that defense. as the 100% guy. I would play him. I would play him in the Pratt role and Carlies in the Logan Wilson role.
Agreed.
But I don't know. Veteran deference is a thing in the NFL. But I would play Carlies 100% of snaps for them as a DB convert. He's good in coverage. And I mean, Pratt, Wilson, they're 120 plus tackle guys when they're playing that type of a role. And coming into this offseason, unless you were in a league with myself or a few other IP guys, Mike Alert being a main one who's championed Carlies for a little while as well. You probably could have just added him off with waivers. You'd still be able to, depending on your league format. And I don't know if you talked about it here, but I've definitely heard IP discussions about essentially it can play a DBB or linebacker in a DB slot. It's a cheat code. I mean, that consistency level. If it can project 7 to tackles from Carlies, that's going to best pretty much every DB not named Travis Hunter and Derwin James at this point.
Pretty much, yeah. I know it's something we did discuss a couple of weeks when we had Sean Teague on. Just the positional flexibility in sleeper leagues is massive. Typically, if you have a linebacker who can play somewhere else, that's helped make TJ Watt a cheat code for a long time. Maybe now we have it with Carlies too. I know he's someone I've been lower on. The IDP community has been crazy on him after his first game with the Colts last year, but I was not super impressed with his on-field play. However, as we talked about, there's the cheat code of playing linebacker role in the defensive back spot. And as we talked about, the most important thing for an IDP player are snaps. And I have the Colts depth chart up right now. Aside from Zaire Franklin, can you name another linebacker on the Colts roster?
No.
Well, you're Cameron McGrone from the Patriots.
Oh yeah, I forgot they listed him. I forgot about him because they listed him as the other starting linebacker on the depth chart, which is hilarious to me.
Yeah, Joe Bocci's there. Did he have a stop in New England?
He might have, but he was a Cincinnati pick, wasn't he?
Yeah. Former year guy Jacob Phillips, who before he had 18 injuries was
poor one out for him. He would have been a stud if he didn't get hurt.
Then the only other name that I recognize is Segun Alubi, who's been pretty good as a fill-in linebacker in the couple of games he's played, but he's a special teams guy. Then the other 3 names they have listed, I have not heard of, which, not to toot my own horn, but every year my draft list goes 300 deep. So
I know you had at least one UDFA that signed there, but I know you didn't draft him, and that was when I was finally yes, officially wheels us up for Carlies, because there's really, unless they acquire someone leading into training camp, there's nobody there to stop him from at least getting an opportunity.
And the Colts don't seem like a team who would sign an Eric Kendricks or someone. So at this point, unless Carlies' injury continues, I think he's going to have the role. I'm a little lower on him for Dynasty. I don't think he's going to prove to be a starting linebacker level on the field. But right now, I'm gonna play him over Cameron McGrone and co. So
this is honestly more of a game theory thing for me, where he has a great. He posts 100 and some tackles. He will jump up into the linebacker 20 something range probably, because he's there for another two years. And
could end up being a top 10 DB if he still has that eligibility too.
And at that point, people who want to trade for him, sleeper at that point will take away his DB eligibility. So if you move him off your roster right at the end of the season, get a good linebacker probably for the year, and then you trade him away. Solid boost in value, just to me, making it really well by doing stuff like that.
I think that's the right way to do this. Love to see that. Sorry.
All good. I almost brought up a deeper name.
Who was that?
Questioning. I brought it up a little bit to you, James Williams, another former safety convert from Miami. last year.
Mm-hmm.
Got picked by the Titans, barely played till the very end of the season when every linebacker the Titans had got hurt. But he played for Cedric Gray and is still being listed over Cedric Gray, playing next to Cody Barton. So
What a
as
gross
gross
linebacker room.
as bad as that is, to me, he's the one that has the most shot to go in value, and he probably is rated as, I don't know, DB 100, linebacker like 150 or something ridiculous. They even go that deep. I doubt his name honestly might not even be on Fantasy Pros rankings. It's so low.
It's not.
Yeah.
His first name is James, right?
James Williams, yeah.
Yeah, he's not in here.
Okay. Yeah, so if you're looking for a true, as the fantasy football is called, nasty boy, would not shock me, honestly, if he pulled them out for a year or even two. Poor for Cedric Gray.
They went 228 deep on the linebackers and 247 on DBs, and he is not named.
All right.
Our guy Jeffrey Boss is down at linebacker 215. Holy crap. And the aforementioned Brenton Cox at 211. Anyway, sorry, tangenting there. So last name we have for today is another one of my most aggressive rankings for redraft. That is the new Panther safety Tre'Von Moehrig. Where do you have him ranked right now, Justin? For redraft.
32 probably feels about right. I would put him in redraft, and it's not about him. It's about how you want to play the Pants DB specifically. Like if it were me, I would be playing Lathan Ransom next to him. Ransom, I would rather play in the box, so that would be my concern with him. But if it's the money Richardson, he's probably up closer to, I don't know, 18 to 20.
I have Moehrig at 8.
Okay, pretty aggressive, but I guess with their backer room,
yeah, that's a big part of it. Is I know we like Trevin Wallace a lot as a prospect, but I think we both thought that he was 2 years away. Christian Roseboom.
Roseboom's wearing the dot, so it's not even good news for Wallace.
No, I think Wallace could take that over towards the back half of the year, but it's still, even if Roseboom is your top guy, that's a bad linebacker room. Like Roseboom's a body. He's more than a body, but not much more. Yeah, and then it seems like Nick Scott's going to be the starting safety next to Moehrig, at least to start, and he's a 90% deep safety in his time with the Rams and Bengals.
Yeah, he got booted by Geno Stone. Yeah, he's a good player for Moehrig to play next to because of what he's going to force to do. But
Richardson again. Ransom, I kind of forgot about Lathan Ransom, but even still, I think I don't know what
concern is. I would rather play him in the Bucks, or you could honestly play them similar to how I was kind of talking about with Niners, where alternating up, and you could mess with defense a little more, be more multiple. But I mean, he's a fourth and rookie. It's going to take some time probably.
Yeah, basically where I'm at with Moehrig is just his metrics against the run game are awesome. Just misplaced where I had those, but last year was the first year he was a primary box safety, and that I don't think really took over until another fellow Wyoming Cowboy, Marcus Epps, went down with an injury. But Moehrig still had just over 100 tackles, responsible for 4 turnovers, 10 pass breakups. In that year, he was the 6th highest safety against the run. Guys ahead of him: Brian Branch, Julian Love, Kyle Hamilton, Derwin James. Again, another great list. And the 5th one there, I remember was someone super random, but I didn't write that name down.
The Raiders always wrong. They played him as a deep for the longest time, and it never made much sense to me why they played him the way they did.
It's so Raiders to draft a really talented box safety in the first round and then play him deep.
Next to Marcus Epps, I think his name was.
Epps, he's on the Patriots.
He's on the Patriots now.
Is he on the Pats now?
As a depth
Actually,
guy, yeah,
I had a class with Epps at UW, and he was super nice. One guy who was actually super down to earth and was like super nice. Saw him a few times out in downtown Laradice and was always said hi. I don't know, but hope for him to continue with success. But another aside. But yeah, even he was a deep safety, and they wanted to play him in the box. And it's like, what are you guys doing? What's going on here?
sounds like goodness, Colt actually. I'm blanking on the name of safety, but that broke out last year.
For who? Sorry.
Not you guys, not Blackman, but the other
one. Cross.
Yeah, and Nick Cross, who always should have been Nick Cross, who always should have been a box guy, and they were playing it deep and in the box just to start off with.
Yeah, like Blackman, they played the box for a while, but it was really good for fantasy. But
ideas that these guys play these roles.
Yeah, it's so teams do weird things sometimes, but yeah, in the end, Moehrig, I think my ranking is probably a lot aggressive, but a lot of it comes down to they have good run stopping defensive tackles, young edges who probably aren't gonna do a huge amount. I like Nick Skorton a lot though. This time next year, I can almost guarantee Skorton will be a name that I bring up for this sort of show.
You could put either of them in here, Quinsley or
Umamnialan as well.
Well, it's nice to see. Sorry. Again, Skorton, the Panthers brought him in and immediately cut weight. Back to what he did at Pro versus what he did at
Yes. Tex, I know we talk about we bring up Penn State all the time on this pod, just the athletic freaks who they do weird stuff with, and then comes up Texas A&M a lot. It's like, is this even a real defense? Like, what the hell is going on here? But Gorton, I think, was really affected by that. And still was like, Purdue, he was a great run defender.
I think they bulked him up 20 pounds and asked him to rush the passer as much. So
yeah, and like even when he was in the low 250s, he was still really good against the run in the Big Ten. So that's something that I think will translate a little bit. So I'm really high on Skorton for the future as well. But to wrap it up with Moehrig, I think he's going to be really good. I'm a big fan of his. I have been for a while, and again, a little aggressive, but those run game metrics and bad linebackers make me think he could really rack up a lot of tackles.
And I agree. And I'll throw one more name that we don't even have listed on here, but just with news coming out today, C.J. Gardner-Johnson was started off in practice this morning, and the fear is Achilles, which is one of the few injuries that is diagnosable on the field. So typically when they say an Achilles, it's an Achilles. So if you need a very deep DB stash, for some reason their chart lists came Bullock as the starting strong safety, but I will place a whole bunch of money that Jaylon Reed would be the priority strong safety, and Bullock he's the slot guy, right? That's where they played him last year. I said Jaylon Reed for the state.
Oh yeah, the USC safety former.
Bullock was at USC, and he's terrible other than in the middle.
Yeah.
So I don't know why you would list him as a safety anywhere. But he's a great strong. He's a great safety. He's exactly what's not there. He can't go at all. So
it looks like Rashawn Slater's down on the field too.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Oh boy.
With the show, but it is. I was like, it's not an apple, but Reed to me is a good. Wouldn't shock me if Jimmy was off there, but I would get Reed on the field sooner rather than later if I were them. I know he was a fit of Daniel Jeremiah, some of our other names who've had some good breakouts recently. So
makes sense to me. Another Penn State safety, right?
Yeah. Jaylon Reed was playing. He played next to and with. Oh goodness, the guy got hurt. Your favorite guy, one of your favorite DBs, Winston in this
Kevin
class.
Winston. Yeah, and he took over that box role from Winston. Was really good.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm like, he's the one in the box. He can do both, but Bullock is purely a deep guy.
Yeah,
and I assumed when they drafted him, he was being developed behind CJ.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is going to do it for today. Justin, thank you so much for joining. It was a pleasure to podcast with you again. First time in like, what, a year and a half or so?
Something like that, yeah.
But
Thanks for
thanks for
having
coming
me. I
on.
appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Sorry to drive you off on some tangents.
No, I love it. It's good with IDP especially. Do you have anything you're working on right now, or where can the folks find you?
That is a great question. I might be writing for IP Plus again. I'm honestly not really sure what's going on with that. I might be doing rankings for oh my goodness, why am I blank? Pro Football Network, Pro Football Sports Network. They are now. Maybe I just not take a year off. We'll see. But my content you can always find us at JFriday and I'm on Fantasy Pros rankings and do feature writing stuff quite a bit over there. I think I've got a dropping Friday, Saturday on receivers.
Oh, nice. And you can find me at JoeLo63 on all of the socials. Definitely be sure to follow Justin. He has great fantasy work, especially with IDP side. Best wishes to JJ, Jameson, Jorge, all of the Fantasy and Frames crew down at the Expo. Hope you guys have a blast and travel safe. We'll be back next week, full crew. We've not yet decided a topic, but we'll be at our normal live show at 8 p.m. Eastern. For now, remember, love yourself, know your worth, you are enough. And as always, boat drinks. Boat drinks, my friends.